Let's go, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. I am your host, Ty Dobberton, as always, with my co host, Derek Kwan.
What's up, everyone?
It is Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, and this is episode number 81, I believe. Man, we're getting up there. We have got a nice one for you today. There's been a little bit of fun buzz. Well, I don't know if it's fun or not. There's been some lively chatter in the poker world this week, and we'll see if we can cover it all. But of course, we will start with results as always, and we will wrap up with the roundup as always. So, let's just save our topics for a surprise. It'll just kind of hit you as we go. Maybe you'll think we made them up, a little stream of consciousness. You know what I mean? All right. So let's start out with the results, just as always, and we will start with some lovely posts from our number one field reporter. Now, I'm pretty confident he didn't take this picture. I think this was taken up at the Venetian, but congratulations to local blaster. I believe, is what she likes to go as, but Emmanuel, Serwinski, at Pretty Bohemi, winning a Venetian deep stack extravaganza bronze coin and a little over 22 grand. So way to go. I don't know if well, it looks like you probably do get that trophy. I thought you only got the trophies for multi-days and you got the coins for single days. I'll have to figure out what the rules are. But if she get that trophy, that's boss. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool looking trophy.
Yep. So congrats. You see M up there playing away with. I'm sure David is up there playing as well. So those guys are up there in Vegas. I will. I wonder if they'll still be there when I get there this weekend. Probably not. Let's move on to the next set of results I have. So we have some more results from the Commerce Casino from this last weekend. The Saturday 25K guarantee absolutely smashed. We predicted it was going to do really well with the Mega Millions going on, and it did not disappoint. The 25K guarantee got up to 51,000 in the prize pool. 178 unique entries showing up to play, including yours truly. I did not cash though. We did all right until Reg ended, and then it just all went play. So congratulations, though, to the winner. The winner. Oh wow, they even have their player IDs in here and stuff. Maybe they should get rid of some of that, huh? The winner was. How do you say that? Go? No, I probably go. Go Bin. He took home 13,000 for first place. And honestly, this doesn't even look like a chop if you ask me. Maybe it was. I don't think it was. 13,000 for first and 7,000 for second. I read their names backwards.
Yeah.
Bin Go and Tung Win getting second. Congratulations. Yoshihiro Takahashi getting third. Also 7 grand. Oh, I guess that was the chop there.
Yep. There has to be some sort of a deal
That's
to get those two numbers. Yeah.
Yep, those two. And then in fourth place, Kenneth Espinoza. Fifth place, Ahmad Haverty. Sixth place, James Hennessy. Seventh place, Thuy Win. There's a name we recognize. Eighth place, Matthew Schwartz. And ninth place, Khalid Al Saif. So, I got to read 10th. Congrats to George Halu, just missing the final table Commerce Daily Legend. So, way to go, final table, and all of you. And also, shout out to Mr. David Rhodes cashing this thing as well down there in 21. That's pretty awesome. They more than doubled the guarantee. They've been knocking on the door of doubling this thing the last few weeks, and this week they smashed it. Double the guarantee. Yeah. Way to go.
Kevin's got that magic touch, man. I don't know what he's doing.
Next week will be a little tougher with the competitions from the dailies happening at the Gardens with the bigger guarantees, but we'll see. I mean, the guarantee's only 50K on Saturday, Saturday's the big one. They'll be competing with a 100K guarantee, but hopefully they can catch some of the late reg. Some of the people who bust out maybe want to travel over. All right. The last thing going on in town this week, it's not complete yet, but we have the Mega Millions wrapping up. They're currently playing day 3, and they have reached the final table. So let's head on over to the Bike Poker feed here. And the final table right here, right after, it looks like the chip leader is Michael Casella. I believe this colorful shirted gentleman here on the right. He has 37 millions after busting Evgeny Siranov, who... Did he chop or did he win? I think he got second in one of the large events earlier in the series, so he's having quite a series. But
37 million.
Yeah,
that's a lot of chips.
That is a lot. So here is the final table as of this post. So Beza 9 million. Here's Mr. Michael Casella, 37 million. Zhao Guo, 3.2 million. Lam Win, 17.5 million. He's having a heck of a year. Dylan Nehor, 14 million. Nicholas Browning, $5 million. Chris Klodnicki, $3.8 million. And Jeremy Mintz, $6.1 million. And Quincy Vassar, $8.8 million. So that is our final table, and I imagine they're going to play for probably another 4 hours or so today, at least 3. I'd imagine they'll play at least till midnight, and we'll see how far they get down before they call it a day and come back for tomorrow. I doubt they're going to finish this in the next 4 hours unless there's a fairly large chop. What do you think?
Yeah, no way. Absolutely no. I mean, unless everyone decides to start blasting or something.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's always a possibility.
Yeah.
Always a possibility.
It also depends on what the blinds are, because I know that some of the quantums you get there actually quite a bit uncomfortable chip stack, so it really just depends.
Yeah, I mean, one person does have 37 million, and then Lamb had 12.5 million. So there is quite a bit of disparity between those two. They probably got half the chips in play, so could there's a chance. But once it starts condensing down, I can't imagine it's gonna go quickly once it starts condensing down and you have those massive stacks, unless you just get that massive cooler.
It's true.
All right. So before we get to kind of the more fun stories, we have a couple sort of sadder stories to quick hit on. For those of you who do play a lot in the LA area and who have played for a while, you no doubt know who Doug Smith is. If you are not familiar, here's our quick picture. And the community has learned in the last few weeks that he is not doing well. He's suffered a stroke. He's currently hospitalized. He's seeing friends, but he's not bouncing back really quickly. And everyone in the LA poker community is wishing him speedy recovery, hoping that he is. We see him back out there sweating all the tables and smiling like this again. So good luck, and we're pulling for you, Doug.
Yeah, sad to see one of our own go down like this. Hope you have a speedy recovery, buddy.
And then another kind of sad story that I wanted to get out there is that, former Commerce tournament director, the former LA guy here, Justin Hammer, who's now the tournament director for the Poker Atlas Tour and also does a lot up at Thunder Valley, I believe. He had this sad post on Twitter here and talking about how his little brother passed away earlier in the week. And he's just asking that a lot of people have been asking him how to contribute or pay respects, and they have gotten a website together here on everloved.com. It's got a bit of an obituary on it. It's got some information, and it has a way that if you wanted to give, instead of giving flowers or instead of sending something there, you could donate to help with their memorial fund, and help out the family in that way. So sorry for your loss. We are always hurts to see someone from the community having to deal with something like that. So check it out, Justin Hammer on Twitter, if you want to get that link and get that, make a contribution or leave a note.
Yeah, condolences to Justin and his family.
Yeah. All right. So those are the sad topics for the week. I thought someone else was saying it, but it's just you. All right. Yeah. If there's a buzz, Derek's trying to figure out if it's his setup or if it's something else. So please let us know if we're having audio problems. Some weeks we have something goofy going on. All right. So let's talk about some other topics, something a little more lively, let's say. And when we say lively, it's more lively than pets, right? Dogs. So there was this post. I believe this might have even been 2 weeks ago now. I think it maybe even was last week exactly. So Justin Zaki has a thing. He has like a running thing on his Twitter where he constantly is taking pictures of dogs at the tables and just saying, guys, no dogs at the tables. What's going on? Guys, what are we doing here? So he posted another one this week. This was from down in at Hard Rock in Florida. And, this is a player that us in the LA community, if you've been paying attention to watching, you probably actually recognize despite just seeing the back of her here. Awesome hoodie, by the way. I love Arcane, sweet series. But yeah, so we have here, and in case you aren't noticing it, we have here Miss Jessica Vierling and her service dog under the table, big old husky. And the other thing to note in this picture is shoes on the ground and rack under the chair. Now the rack's was kind of just a joke to pull in Savage here because I've got Savage's response. So this post generated a lot of chatter online, there's a big, as you can imagine, a big split camp on all of these topics. Very split on the dogs, less split on the shoes, and honestly, the rack is the least split thing of all. So first off, before I read off, Savage's official answers and whatnot, what do you think, Derek? What do you think about? Let's start with the more fun one. What do you think about dogs at the table?
You know, I'm a huge dog person, and I love when there are dogs in the room and I get to play with them and pet them. But just like you and I talk about, it's not always about our personal preferences. It's like the entirety of everything, and then maybe on a slippery slope type of situation where you have like 50 dogs in the room, like what happens. So I kind of get people's complaints. I think, even Jer has mentioned his allergies and people are allergic to dogs, so you have that situation as well. Um, I do. I actually kind of feel like people's problem with the issue is maybe even less about an individual person or a dog, but just the fact that probably this whole service dog ecosystem gets abused like terribly by a lot of people,
Yeah.
like service animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably what the problem that they have is that unfortunately people who are legitimately, having a service animal probably get scooped in with kind of the bad actors, which kind of sucks. So I think that it's probably just like a whole bunch of different vectors that are causing people's dissatisfaction. But
So,
I
so you're telling me that this dog here that we saw at Commerce last year, this isn't a service animal?
That is a service animal, so I think that people don't
No,
understand.
no, this
I think
dog
that.
here, this dog here. I'm sorry. Give it 2 seconds.
Oh wait.
All right, you seen the video? This is the video.
Oh
Sorry. Yeah, of course, Jessica's dog is a service animal. I'm talking about this little brown guy here.
Oh,
So you're saying
you
you're telling me
should
that's not a service dog? You're telling me that's not a trained
you should
professional?
you should be an emotional support dog because he just makes everybody happy when you look at him. But so this is what I mean. Like I love dogs, and everyone is so happy with that dog is there. But as long as there's a couple of people that are not okay with it, and generally we probably shouldn't just be having animals running around like businesses anyway. I'm kind of okay leaning towards the
Yeah,
which is just enforce this illegally the service part, right? People who would, maybe we need to tighten up that service animal system, but otherwise just let people who legitimately have a service need in, and then everything else no go.
yeah. I mean, we agree a lot on this. Hey Brad, what's up in the comments? This is another perfect example, Brad, of where it kind of sucks for the show that Derek and I agree so much because we're just gonna agree with each other a bunch here. But oh, if Jessica's emotional support dog, then its vest is a little misleading. Because I don't believe emotional support dogs count as service animals; they're a separate category, and the vest says service animal, I think. But yeah, so I totally agree. Service dogs should be allowed anywhere, right? Service dogs are amazing, but here's the thing: you can't just get a dog, or you can't just have your dog be certified as a service dog. Service dogs are brought up and trained for like years in a service dog school, right? You go and get a
Yep.
service dog from a trained service dog licensed training facility. You're trained how to use the dog, how to treat the dog. You don't just have a dog and say, it helps me. It's a service dog now, right? It has to
Right.
be literally kind of trained and brought up through like service dogs academy, like it grows up in service dog school, right? And they don't all make it as service dogs. You have to
Yeah.
get a service dog. You can't just make a dog a service dog, right? So that's what you're talking with the abusing there, and it does really stink that people have been abusing. And we're in California, right? So nowhere do people abuse this more than California. I can't tell you when I moved here, I was seeing dogs walking around in grocery stores or like in the carts in grocery stores, and it's just like
Yeah.
if there's one place where it's absolutely inexcusable to bring
Yeah,
an
it's
animal, it should be the grocery store, right? Like,
right.
I mean,
It's
like,
really unsanitary.
exactly. I'm with you. I love dogs. Absolutely love dogs. And, if I see that dog somewhere else, or if it's like a home game, whatever, it's its own thing. But this is a public business, right? You can't just bring any animal you want into any public business, can you? Right? Shouldn't, like,
Yeah.
especially a place where you're cramped, right? You're in these cramped spaces.
Right.
And for me, we've seen a lot of dogs at the poker tables here in LA. I've seen them at the cash tables, but even here in the tournament streets, right? There's a couple folks. I'm going back and forth whether to name them or not, but I won't, because everyone who plays knows who we're talking about. There's a couple folks. There's a guy who always brings German Shepherd to the table, right? Always brings German Shepherd. No, there's no vest on him. I don't even know if it's a guy or girl. There's two different ones that have come, and it's a very well behaved. They're very well behaved German Shepherds, but there's no service vest on it. He's never tried to say it's service dog around me. that dog shouldn't be there because it's not a service dog, right? And you're taking up, to your point, when we're making these rules for what's going on, you really do need to think, hey, that dog's awesome, but what if all 9 of us had a German Shepherd under the table
Right.
or
Right.
around? And then what if the 9 people at the next table over? And it's like, well, my dog, I need my dog. Yeah, but why can't we have ours? And the reason is because we can't all have them, right? And it's
Right.
like, I've also seen that dog bark and growl in a very aggressive way towards dealers. I remember at the
Oh, really?
Commerce, there's two different instances. I think they might have been they were either towards the wall or something, but a dealer was trying to walk to his chair, and the dog, you heard it all the way through the room. It got up and it had a little growl and a loud bark, and that dealer stopped. He went around the other way, and I saw it twice. Like, that should be it. That dog can't be there. I'm sorry. It's a great dog, super awesome, fun dog, but we're playing poker in a cramped space. People can step on things. There's wheels on these chairs, right? Like, what is going to happen if something happens with these things, right? Um, and even with the small dogs, like the video I just showed, it's like you said, yeah, of course they make us happy. They're really cool. Like, yay. But you can't have a dog running around the poker table. Especially that was clearly like a puppy, it seemed like. Like, what if it has an accident?
Yeah.
And I don't care if
Yeah.
your dog doesn't have accidents. That's why they're called accidents, right? If you don't have one, then you can't have an accident. Like, I mean, I spill enough on the table, and everyone else who's like Uncle Paul spills enough on the table. We don't need dogs also spilling stuff on the tables, right? Like, what the
Yeah.
heck? Yeah. And with the allergies thing, what I've heard, buddy FML Poker there in the chat, Dennis, he says that or actually no, it was Jeremy who said that, but he works at a poker room. He's a dealer, so he may have some experience with that as well. And also, Jeremy said he asked a floor once, and what they'll do is actually they'll move the guy with the allergies instead of moving the dog, which is crazy. I mean,
Wow.
it makes sense if it's a service dog, right? And here's the
Yeah.
problem. Here's the really tough part that people are in or that operators are in when it comes to service dogs is you can't ask for a service dog credential. You can't ask them to prove or to demonstrate the service they
Right.
provide. You can't do
Right.
anything. All you can do is if the dog misbehaves, then you can ask it to go. It's crazy. Like service dogs, like I said, it's so hard to be a service dog, but for some reason you can't like they should come with like some sort of official service dog license. It's that hard to get them. Why not have one? But you couldn't ask
Yeah.
for one. You can't ask for any kind of proof, right?
You,
That's part of the
you
Americans with Disability Act. It's
you
wild.
have to get to the root problem because even if you somehow allow by law for people to challenge and question it, you know how much trouble people in public cause all the time, and now you're putting poor service workers right on the front lines of some sort of war,
Yeah.
with people with their pets. Which again, I love pets, and pets are like family. Uh, but yeah, I just think that to attack this at the root, our system needs to tighten up the credentials that are given out, right, and the qualifications for you to actually get one of those things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think service dogs are amazing. What some of them can do is like it's supernatural, right? The ones that can detect seizures and stuff. It's
Right, right.
insane.
It's crazy.
Like
Yeah.
the stuff those dogs can do is amazing. But that's such a well trained specific dog. It's just you. Why if your dog is that awesome, why can't you just have a? It should come with proof, and it shouldn't be a problem to show it, right? So I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure you can just like, go to you could just Google like any company online that just kind of gives
Right.
out these
Yeah.
certifications, just like send a
Well,
couple of
no, for
emails. There's
for
barely
for an
anything.
emotional support dog, you could do that. There's literally you go to
Yeah.
a website page, like because when you want to fly with them, a lot of the
Yeah.
airlines change the rules about who can fly in the cabin. It's like if it's an emotional support cert, and we might ask for a cert, and you can just send someone
Yeah.
like $150. Why should no? I understand. There is no certification. That's my problem, but I do know that like real like service dogs that are actually specialized and well trained, they grow up and they spend like it's like a year and a half or 2 years of training straight, right, to be a
Right.
great dog. But yeah, I understand there is no cert. That's why I'm saying there is no cert, and there's nothing to ask for. There's nothing to have, right? So
Yeah.
okay, so that is kind of what we're talking about. What was Savage's take on it, right? So this made its way to Matt Savage, and Hendricks gave him a post. He tagged him in the rack question because there's a rack under the table. Obviously, that's incorrect. That shouldn't be there. So what Savage said was, as an operator, we need to allow the dog. It's the law as long as it is not aggressive towards other people or other dogs around the room. So that kind of goes back to what I said is, if someone has a dog, they literally all they have to do is say it's a service dog, and you're not allowed to question it unless it is aggressive towards other people's dogs or poorly trained, right? It's like peeing on the floor. So here they're sitting apparently Jessica was sitting in front of the tournament desk. never really gave it a thought because the dog was well behaved and didn't receive a complaint about her. The other many dogs in the tournament areas, right? Mostly little dogs that are probably sitting on laps. And then he talks about the rack on the floor, of course. And then the last point we'll talk about in a moment, which is the shoes. Like what's up with the shoes off? Let's talk about whether that's allowed. But I just want to make one other point kind of about the dog thing is a counterpoint in this thread. So this is a long thread, right? This has 80 comments with replies and whatnot
Wow,
on it.
really?
Yeah, it has a lot
Jeez.
of back and forth, a lot of people chiming in. A lot of good points, a lot of what you're talking about, kind of backlash against the abuse of service dog, because like the people abusing service dog really ruining it for service dogs, right? Like
Yeah.
if no one abused it, then you would see one and you just say it's a service dog, and it would be right. But to kind of to Julie's point in the chat, this is what I was gonna say is a lot of the pushback she was, in the chat, people are like, oh, it's taking up all that foot space. Oh man, it's getting in the way. Or what if it was over there or out of the way and out of the table would be better. Some of her argument was like, well, it's a my dog is really well trained. Nobody, if anyone ever asks me to have him move, I just tell him to go somewhere else and he lays there. Or if anyone ever has a problem, it's very easily managed to do this or that, right? But to your point, Julie, Kardash, she was saying like she's worried about pushback from the table, right? Like, what if you're asking the dog to move and everyone loves the dog? What if it's a small dog like the one on the table and you're the swell part? Like, I'm the one who says like, hey, that dog can't be jumping all over. Like, it's gonna knock chips over. It's gonna drop hair. What if it has an accident? It's a puppy, and then everyone's like, and then they get mad at you, right? And I wouldn't care much about that, but there are a lot of people, as we know, who do not want the table putting all their eyes on them and having an opinion about them, right? So like, if your feet are jammed up and you're being extra careful about moving your chair and you feel a little uncomfortable, I mean, is that fair? How uncomfortable or not? And if you may not ask or say something because some people just don't want to talk to other people, they're just kind of nervous about that in general. And two, what you point out, you don't want other people to jump on you either because they think you're being unreasonable, right? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be put in that situation, right?
Right.
That's my opinion on that piece. Is like, yeah. And to her point, like that dog was here for the whole circuit. The whole circuit main. If you watch the stream, it just goes to the corner of the circuit stage and it just kind of sleeps the entire final table, the entire table. So it's obviously a really well behaved dog. But
I'm gonna say generally, like all the dogs that I have seen, and obviously I haven't been at all the casinos, they all been very well behaved, right? The German Shepherd you're talking about, just kind of like I'm surprised to hear that he barked at the dealers or whatever.
yeah,
Usually he's just kind of sleeping on the ground, doesn't make a noise. I love petting her. She's like super nice. Um, but yeah, but I get people's complaints not about my love for dogs. Maybe I could just go to the dog park to get my my fill of dog time, and I don't really need to have it at the card room.
yeah. And I was wrong about the post. The original post is up to 286 comments, not 80. 80 is just Matt Savage's.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yep. And yeah, so and to someone else's point, I think Julie, you said it's an emotional support dog, but I mean, it clearly is being advertised as a service dog, which I mean, I think
Right.
there's a distinction. I don't think emotional support dogs are covered by the same rules as the American Disability Act. I think that's a different set of rules, which they are still pretty permissive, I think, but I don't know. I think that might be more state to state. But point is, we shouldn't be the ones who are enforcing anything, right? You just speak up, and
Yep. Right.
but then there's not really anything you can do.
Yeah.
The casino here in the picture is actually in Florida. This is at the Sherpo, but clearly Jessica does play in Vegas a lot as well. I'm sure this dog has been to the Wynn and the Venetian and all those places, I'm sure. Yeah, this is at the Hard Rock though, this particular picture. But like we said, the dog was here at Commerce and it was fine. But the point is, just kind of to stir the debate, right? The whole point. I
Yep.
really just think that when you're thinking about rules for the public, you just really have to think, well, what if everybody did it, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the other piece, right? Shoes on the floor. I feel like I was actually really surprised to see some people defending this. They're like, "Oh, shoot, no big deal. Shoes are not a problem." Her feet aren't stinky. It's fine, right? It's like, once again, it's not a matter of
It's a dumb thing
I'm
to say.
special, so therefore I don't have to be as considered. It's that we made a rule so that or the rule exists so that no one has to go around smelling feet to see if you're okay to have your shoes off and you're not, and you're okay to have
Exactly
your,
right.
you know.
How's that even a response? Like her feet aren't smelly like that. Like what? Yeah, what are you gonna do? Go around like
I mean,
picking
like
which
even
people can
Savage
and can't have
says,
their feet on?
I have an issue with players taking their shoes off, but um, not necessarily Jess, as I see her as a welcome bright light, but for other obvious reasons that he puts into his thing. And his poker org is basically summarizes we need to have the no shirt, no shoes, no service rule in
Right.
poker rooms, and I agree that seems totally reasonable for a public poker room. But I was
And it
surprised to
just
see him carve it out. It's like why do you need to say that? Just say you don't think people should take their shoes off, so then just
Mm.
people
And
shouldn't
it's
take their shoes
disgusting.
off.
Like I don't even like having my regular shoes touching the bottom of the floor in the casino sometimes because it's really gross. So when I ever see people like taking their shoes off or even walk around with socks on, I'm like what's wrong with you? Like why would you do that in one of these card rooms?
Yeah, and the thing, what we see this kind of thing, right? I mean, this is clearly not. I mean, look at this. This everyone recognizes this room. This is the bike. What is even going on here? This guy has his shoes off. He's squatting on this chair backward. Like this is for one, it's a safety hazard. That chair easily is just going to tip right over if it's the slightest motion. And then two, like put your shoes on, man. What are you doing?
People
Why?
gotta sit on that. It's just sort of the same thing with like I don't know people on planes who also take their shoes off and then stick their like feet and socks up like on the back of your chair in between that. Like it's just I don't know. I feel like some people have mental issues or something. Like why would you do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like two kinds of people that do this, right? I think that it's one people that just they they really just don't think any like they've talked themselves into being confident and comfortable to the point that they just don't care about anyone's like the thought really is my feet don't smell, therefore this isn't bothering anyone, therefore I can do whatever I want in this regard, right? And you can understand where it comes from unless you think at like a societal level, right? Like this is kind of the more I don't know. It kind of feels like more like the American point of view. I am. This is as responsible as I get as an American. I will do my own. I will do my own due diligence to make sure that I don't think this bothers anyone, so I'm going to do it right, and not so
It's
much as like
really
more of a collective. You know, like in Japan, right?
yeah.
If they had this rule, they
It's
would never
literally it's
ever break it.
literally it's literally tragedy of the commons. That's what this is. It's a
Yeah.
tragedy of the commons, and I'm very much on the train of like not caring what people think. Like as I've gotten older and older, I like just don't give a shit anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
most people can't actually give me like valuable feedback on the things I actually need, and I do listen to like experts and people I respect and trust. But most people, I just don't really care what you think. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go out there and act in ways that are, I think maybe psychopathic is too strong of a word, but just like stuff like this, like I don't get it. It just I don't know where's your decorum? Where's your I don't know respect for the social fabric that we have? Like we,
Right.
we live
That's
in a
it.
society
Yeah.
and such and
Yeah.
such.
It's the individualism. I think the other part though is I think that poker rooms and poker players, especially like regs, right? I think we're especially susceptible to this sort of thing because of familiarity, right? If you go someplace for the first time, like if you go or someplace you're not super comfortable with or that you haven't gone to a lot, like I don't know, you're a big basketball fan, right? Do you go to a lot of games though?
No,
Okay, so
no,
like, would you? So like, if you went to a basketball game and you had like not a box seat, but like you got invited to one of those really awesome, cool posh rooms or whatever, like you wouldn't go
mm,
in there and take your shoes off and kick your feet up on the couch, right?
no. Oh, look, it's just insane. Like I
But
can't even imagine that would enter my brain. Like this is
right,
why it's just such cognitive dissonance for me.
but if it was your box, you owned that. That
Hmm.
was your season seat. You're there a
Hmm.
hundred times a year,
Yeah,
5 years. You get really comfortable in there. You might be laying back. You got your feet up. You'll
no,
be doing
I still wouldn't do it.
well.
I still wouldn't because there's other people there. Like why? Like I can just sit there in a bathrobe in my house just relaxing. But when I'm out in public, like there's no reason to do that, right?
Well, I guess my point is a lot of people would though, right? And it's because they get more comfortable with the environment. And I think this is why a lot of the regs, the quote unquote misregs. Now, I don't think this
Yeah.
is as misreggy behavior, but I think it's becomes comfortable for the same reason, right? I think you're there all the time. You feel like you own the place. You know the people. Like I'm sure even we're probably seen this way at this point now. It's like you walk in and it's like, oh, that guy, he's acting like this establishment, this place, this room is like his living room, right? You see it with people who are in the
Yeah,
gym all the time. You see it with people,
yeah.
all your
There's such a
communities.
fine line there. Like Uncle Paul's a perfect example. Like this guy can get drinks from like all corners of anywhere. They're like making phone calls for him to
Yep.
bring drinks to him, but he's not sitting there taking his shoes off, right? So there's like this comfort that you do establish, but then you still are acting in sort of socially, I don't know, acceptable, not acceptable, but almost just like socially polite ways or something.
Yeah, like we all
It's
agreed when we're in public, we're gonna wear our shoes. And not only that, most establishments have rules. As Savage said, no shirt, no shoes, no
right.
service, right? But
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I think you definitely see people when they go to the same place all the time. They're around the same people all the time.
Yeah.
It's like that your local bar, right? You start taking
Right.
liberties. You start
Right.
like in The Simpsons, right? The episodes where Barney and them they don't think twice before jumping behind the bar and putting their mouth under the tap, right? It's like
Right.
they probably
Right.
wouldn't do that at a bar they've never been to before. They might, but they
Right.
probably wouldn't do that there. But here they're like, "Oh, this is my place. I'm comfortable here.
Yeah.
I own this space, right?" So
Right.
I don't know, and I feel like that's something that happens because it's almost always it's either the regs or the really eccentric folks that just show up, right? So it's either the incredibly independently, like wildly independent to the point of are they doing it to make that point, and then the people that are just they're so comfortable that it's like home, not home. They live at the casino more than they live at home. Who knows, right? That sort of thing.
And
I
I
don't know.
joke in the chat, like, might as well ban sandals. I mean, that's like another good point. Like, sandals is basically almost shoes off already.
Yeah.
But there are businesses that just don't let you in there with sandals, right? It's like definitely shoes. So
Yeah.
I think that's a perfectly fine thing. And also, I don't think I've ever worn sandals to the casino before, and I never would, especially if I have to go to the bathroom, to the urinal,
I
it's
know, right?
everything's
Wearing
different. Yeah, like,
sandals with no socks, especially into a casino.
what is wrong with people?
There's
Like, it's just crazy,
Most of these
crazy.
bathrooms are so gross.
I know. Like, I honestly, like, I like after I walk through them with with like sneakers, I'm
Yeah,
just like, should I throw these away?
your shoes
If I find a way.
they're like sticky when you come out a lot of times. You're like
Right,
creaking on the
right.
floor. It's like, ugh. Dennis
Yeah.
is so Dennis, the dealer up there, he's backing me up. He says these Mizrags are always acting like they own the room, and it's just like it's because familiarity really helps bring down those walls, which is a good thing and a bad thing, right? In this case, it's kind of a bad thing because you're forgetting that you don't own the room, right? We're trying to welcome new people. We're trying
Yeah.
to seem not crazy, and we're trying to seem not unsanitary to the new players, right? We want other people to have a pleasant time.
I think too, kind of going through Duke's messages. So he's a little bit being a little contrarian. The dog has right to flourish in the casino. Might let people take off their shoes. Not sure if he's trolling or not, but it's good to have differing opinions, and let's all have an open discussion about it.
Yeah, yeah. I have a feeling with that phrasing he may be trolling us. Yeah, banning sandals is tougher because then you have to see like, well, at what point does it become like a fancy open-toed shoe, and at what point is it a sandal,
Right.
and then yada yada. But yeah. So Dennis is saying that a dude said, well, I mean, and you're not just talking like a burger or a quick salad he scarfed down. You're talking like he had basically like a tray and like a full dinner spread or something. Is that you're talking, Dennis? Saying he had a guy sit at the empty table and eat his dinner there. I'm
I
assuming it
did
was
that
like a
one
full
time
out dinner.
when I was at Commerce. I couldn't find any like tables to sit and eat at. There was
Hmm.
none at the cafe, none of those side ones. So there was a couple of empty tables, and I think I just sat there and ate like popcorn chicken or something off of a plate.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
But
sometimes.
there's
Yeah.
no place else to sit.
Yeah. That feels different. That's out of necessity. That's out of like there were no side
Yeah,
tables. There were no tables to
yeah,
put your stuff on, and you just had to eat right now. That's like desperation, and it's not like entitlement,
yeah.
right?
That's what it was. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. 2-item combo
Like a
from
chiller.
Panda Express. Let's go. Good choice, sir. Good choice, but not at the poker table, please. That's felt. That is felt. Um, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That's crazy, and we do see it, and we do know, Kevin has some very strict thoughts about this as well. So I don't think that the shoes thing is something we'd have to worry about much at the bike, and this is one where I'm confident that Derek would know because we've talked about it before. But so I didn't bring it up in a quiz Derek's segment, but in the TDA rules, there does exist specific rules about hygiene, right? And I believe we could probably easily extend those. A TD could easily extend those to include shoes on, right? So there's literally
Yeah,
a
it's
rule in
actually
there
funny.
about that.
I've seen like some either heard stories about it or have like seen like tournament directors or even floor people go up to somebody who smells and tell them, like they have to go do something about it. And it's always been a little bit shocking to me because I'm just like, well, how could you ever do something about that? But I think, like it's a private business. You can do whatever you need to
Yeah,
do. Those are your rules. And I think it's fair, right, to protect the establishment and the business because people will stop coming if you allow that to happen.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And depending on what the source is, it could be an actual safety concern. Now, there's like
Yeah.
extremely rare cases where it's not because of that, but hopefully they would explain it and take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time, it yeah, go to the bathroom, get some soap, get some deodorant, do something, right? Go to your
Right.
room. Um, all right. So, I don't know. Like I said, we have pretty similar thoughts on that. Hopefully, those are it's our opinions are pretty much the majority ones in these threads as well. Um, you know, summarize: love dogs. Don't bring on the table unless it's actual needed service dog, and wear your freaking shoes, right? Next topic. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about was I was on Twitter and I saw Mr. Let me see where my tabs went. Sorry guys. I saw Mr. Lappin. Yeah, I saw Mr. Lappin and I saw a couple other folks earlier in the week put up some political stuff, and I'm like, I don't usually see this particular poker, but some poker players do nothing but post political stuff, but this one not as often, and same with the other. And his point was, hey, the World Series is coming up, and I don't know if everyone has noticed, but this administration, this Trump administration, is putting out extremely hostile uh, policies, environment, words, opinions about non-Americans, right? So they have this policy in particular that he was highlighting where any foreign national who's here for more than 30 days has to register with the federal government. Now, I don't know if this was already a thing. I know when you show up, right? When you show up, don't they already get your information at customs and they know you're here?
Yeah.
So I
I
don't.
actually I actually read this after you sent it.
Yep.
And the thing is I'm not super well versed in like immigration and
Yep.
visas, but I'm pretty sure that if you come through like on a legitimate visitor's visa, you do get registered. So I don't think this would actually apply to like most poker players who are just coming in like normally, like from Europe and stuff.
Yeah, the only thing I
Um,
can think of is when you come in as a tourist, like they customs quick checks and stamps you, and that like somehow isn't what they mean by federal government. It's like a second registration. So,
no,
like I said,
uh,
I'm just like you. I don't actually know the intricacies. I do
yeah.
know that, like for instance, when I went to Korea for my honeymoon, they sure
Hmm.
seemed to take a lot closer look at where I was going, and register me more closely, right, than I would imagine we do when you show up here. But once again, I've never visited America as a non-citizen as an adult, so I don't really know what the process is.
Yeah.
um, but his point is, all of this, even if this policy isn't too different than what there is, but it seems like it is since they're making a big deal out of it. His point is that this whole posture, right, and just in general, the rest of the world's sentiment about this administration could reduce attendance at the World Series. I think these numbers, I saw some numbers on Yahoo, on a Yahoo article earlier about tourism being down in the beginning of the year. Like from Canada, apparently it's down like 70% in one of these prior months, and
Hmm.
from Europe it was down somewhat like these numbers. What I saw in that article was around 20 to 30%. So this seems somewhat accurate. Tourism in America is down in the first quarter this year, and between the tariffs, the hostile words, I mean, obviously you can see why Denmark might not want to come here since they're the ones that currently own Greenland, right? Um, and I know that Canadian poker players already have a tough time coming here just for tax reasons, I think, right? But could be even worse. And then in general, all of these European countries the tourism is down. Tourism is way down. So could that actually reduce the World Series attendance? Could we have, markedly lower numbers than last year? And I kind of think it's possible. I think it could really be possible. I don't know. What do you think?
I almost feel like every year we come up with some reason why attendance will be down. They usually end up blowing it out of the park. So I feel like this is probably going to be the same. It seems like what the administration is trying to do, and I think they're just doing a terrible job communicating it. If we have to go and like Google how, visas work to interpret what that person was saying on that video. Um, it almost feels like what they're trying to do is target people that are here and unregistered and have been here for too long, right? And now they want to threaten them to make sure that they either go register or get out of the country. I get it, but then people are not going to, they're going to read a headline and just kind of move on. So if you scare people off just based on that, then that's actually really stupid. Um, so yeah, there could be a threat of that, but like the way I kind of look at it is that people that are coming here for the World Series of Poker are going to be the people who are going to like read and understand and go Google, and they're going to generally understand like how to get here. They've done it a million times before. I'm pretty sure that the people that have done this a million times before, it's going to be the same process, and they shouldn't be impacted by this. So this is why I feel like even though tourism is down in general, you're probably not going to scare off poker players who wanted to come and play poker at the World Series of Poker. This is like their cash cow for the year, right?
Yeah, um, so the reason I say that is because there are a number of pros, right? There's a decent number of pros, the stereotypical Euros, right? But I still feel like the World Series, it's especially true in America, but I feel like there's still a very significant number because the reason the World Series is special, right? Especially the main, is because these are unique people, right? We get the unique entries. And when you have that many unique players, it's a wide net. We actually get that
Yep.
cross section where it's like it's not just that concentration of pros buying in a bunch of times. It's a wide range of people from all walks of life, right? It's not just the bike, the same 30 regs buying in 10 times, right? It's all cross sections, which means that it's not just the people who are coming because it's their profession. It's people who are coming because this is the vacation they like to take once a year. They take a poker vacation. This is their bucket list item, right? This is something they've been saving towards. They finally won something in their home thing that sent them on this trip, right? And those people, I think, will be very affected by maybe just not liking America right now, maybe not liking the administration, maybe being afraid, because there are stories in the news, right, of people who um, spoke badly or published something or like the way the news articles are written, it seems like if you're a foreigner and you speak out against
Right.
the government, they ship you out,
Yeah, that's the
right?
bad thing is no matter what their intent is and no matter what the fine print is, they're not doing a good job communicating that because it sounds really
Yeah.
bad. You know
Or
what? Let's
yeah,
have
or that's what they want to communicate, even if it's the other way, right? So maybe they're doing a good job of what they want,
yeah,
but a bad job for
they're
the
also not
economy.
thinking about the World Series of Poker, right?
Well,
That's
but
what
for the
not what they're
economy in
thinking about.
general, right?
Yeah. Well, why don't let's do this. Let's make a friendly bet. I actually don't think that there's going to be impact because poker players who were coming for the World Series of Poker are still coming for the World Series of Poker from out of the country. I'm very convinced of that. I'll need to maybe double click on what Queens of Poker is saying here about the ladies and the WPA and taxes and from Canada. But
Yeah,
why
yeah.
don't we
Taxes
bet
have always
like
been bad for
yeah,
Canadians. I know
yeah,
that.
why don't we bet like a Bobby's Burger meal or something
All
that
right,
I think that the attendance will be flat or up, and then you think they'll be down.
all right.
And then,
So for the for
we
just the main or for like average over the
yeah,
series.
I was thinking it through like, why don't we just sort of make like a gentleman's bet here that we can come up with some formula, right? So maybe the big no limit events and the main, like some average across all of those needs to be, basically, if it's no less than like 2% or something or higher, then I win, and then everything else you win.
All right, yeah, we'll work out the details. The only wrinkle is that we're still not sure how the extra starting flights or the moving of those bigger event starting flight days is going to affect things.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
I think if you're saying what you're saying, right? Like, let's just say that we remove 10% of the field
well, I don't know.
because like
Yeah, what percent of the field is European, right, or is foreign, right? How
I mean,
much of the field
I'm
is
gonna
foreign?
I think it's roughly like 30 or
30
40%.
or 40%.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
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 then
so I
if
think if it's like a 10% ding on the total attendance, that it doesn't matter what you do with starting days moving around and stuff, you're gonna see that.
So
That's huge.
if you look at if you look at that the beginning of the year tourism down chart, right? They're saying
Yep.
25-ish percent-ish. So like if it's like 30%, then 25% of that, then we're looking at like what are we talking, like 7% decrease-ish, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, like, even you like 2% down, 3% down, you win, right? 3% down, you win. So I'm actually giving you wide
Yeah.
berth. Yeah.
All right. We'll that seems reasonable. We'll work it out and post something on Twitter.
Yeah.
All right.
We could post it up, and we'll just bet a burger or something. But
Yeah.
basically, it's just like, yeah, people are coming. They're just gonna come, man, and especially like they're gonna be a lot of them that are coming are actually either pros or like extremely strong regs, right? That play a lot of poker. They're not gonna miss this for the world. They're gonna figure it out,
Yeah. Well.
unless like if the administration really did put something that would like kill like tourist visas, which seems like super unbelievable to me. That would be the only thing that would prevent them from coming, right? So if they come because of that, then that means that we're completely misreading what the administration is doing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I think that a large percentage of that contingent are not pros, right? Are not like super pros. So, and I think they'll
Yeah.
be
So
extremely
what's
affected. So we'll see. Yeah,
So are
we'll do
you
this.
familiar? So what is the tax situation with Canada?
Oh,
What are you
that's
saying
not new.
about?
That's just always been there. Apparently,
Right.
I don't know it specifically. I think it's either extremely hard for them to get their tax because when they win poker tournaments here, the taxes get withheld or something for some reason.
Yeah.
It's special with
Oh yeah,
Canada.
I remember Canada had something that was extreme. Like there was a person that was from Canada
Yep.
that made a final table with me at the Commerce, and then DJ was explaining to him the tax situation. I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit! Nothing's changed,
No,
right?
no, no, nothing's changed.
Okay.
I was just
Okay.
saying that on top of that, there's also
Oh.
all of the hatred for, him continually saying we're going to annex Canada and that Canada's
Oh,
crappy.
okay.
And so like
Okay. So
that,
this isn't some sort of like I'm gonna have issues coming to the U.S. It's just an ideological. I hate
no, it's
what they're doing,
it's
and
fear over the policies. It's not that it's more difficult to come here. Maybe it is. It's that people are afraid if you come here, something bad will happen to you. They don't know about this, the people you're talking about are
okay.
the ones that will stay for 30 days. And maybe they don't want to register with the federal government if they didn't have to before, or maybe they're unsure what that's going to do to them. And then you got to think, if there's anyone who should be afraid, it's a foreigner who comes here and is going to suddenly have tons of money on them or acquire tons of money out of nowhere. And also, a lot of poker players
Sounds
are very outspoken, so they might be afraid of like, hey,
sure.
what if these guys look up my Twitter and they find out I'm here with lots of money?
I don't know.
You know,
That sounds
it's
sounds
paranoia,
shaky.
but
Sounds ambiguous.
it
But
does. But
oh,
that's all it takes for
I
fear.
sure I can't convince people what to think. But I would hope that people would make decisions like that, with, like doing more research and rooting things in facts. But if you have fear, I can't say
Yeah.
you
Well,
have fear.
look,
You have fear.
if people did more research and rooted their decisions in facts, I think the world would be a very different place.
Or would.
I think that the emotional response and the fear of that happened to one person, it could happen to me, is way more
Sure.
natural, right? Because that's how we make our money in poker. Because there's more people
Right.
playing poker who act that way than who do their research and root their decisions in facts, right?
That's always shocking to me because poker is such an analytical game. And almost even if you're not that good at poker, you just should almost like naturally intuit that. So it's always shocking to me when I encounter poker players who aren't analytical.
Well, right, but you're thinking about the quote unquote good poker players, right? The ones who have
Even
lasted
even
longer,
even
who've been around
even
longer.
kind of bad ones. I don't know. I
I
feel like you
think
should just.
I feel like with the amount of rage you have towards the really bad players who suck out on you, you just don't spend enough time with the people, Derek. You're not spending
Maybe I
enough
don't.
time down in the
Maybe I
1-2
don't.
games and the 1-2, 1-3 streets like I
I
do.
came. I came. I
I
came
know,
for
but
those
it's been a
streets.
long
I came.
time. It's been
It
a
has
long
been a long
time,
time.
hasn't it?
It has been a
You
long
got to
time.
come down with me after one of these things, and we'll get some beers, and you just hang
All right.
out with the
Sounds
people,
good.
and you'll see these are the people. These are the people that are taking their once in a lifetime shot to come and play the monster stack, to play the main
I
event.
may,
You
maybe
know?
maybe I'll understand all of
Yeah.
this fear better.
Yeah. And Dennis is saying he thinks it's like 30-ish% that they get withheld, and then you have to go through all this paperwork to get it back, and it takes a long time, which is that kind of backs
Yeah.
up what I was hearing. I can tell you
Yeah.
this. I saw Commerce is worse than the bike. I'll tell you that as well. As we know, Commerce follows every last rule, right? They follow every single regulation. So when I cashed I got third in a very small nightly, right? And the fourth place player was, I think he was from Israel, and he was getting destroyed on what they withheld. He was only winning like 1,200, and they only gave him like 800. And he was telling me after, he's like, oh, they don't take this much at the bike. They only take the 7%, but here at Commerce, they took the full everything, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, how about we just hand wave and say Kevin's there now, and I think he'll, hopefully just
I don't
make
know
things
if
a
he'll
little
be
bit
able to
better.
affect that piece. I don't know if he'll
You
have
know
that
what?
kind of
If
power,
he
but
was
if he
able to
could,
pull back the freaking double verification, I
yeah.
don't think we should
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
discount.
I wouldn't put it
Yeah,
past
to
him.
discount what he could possibly
Yeah.
do there, because it's like definitely that, I think Kevin is very growth minded, is very, player sentiment,
Yep.
understand what players want minded, and these things that are against growth and against player attendance that seem like an overinterpretation, definitely are the kind of things he's going to target. So why don't we just message him after this and be like, hey, what's going on with this, buddy?
Yeah, for sure. I it's not a personal issue, so I haven't put a lot of brain into it, but it is definitely
Yeah,
annoying for those folks. And if
right.
it's worse at one casino here than the other, that's that's kind of an advantage. It's a competitive advantage, right?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. So let's move on to another story here, real quick. So one quick kind of service announcement. Kevin Mathers last week, he put up a link. The Tournament of Champions invite list is available. So the link is up here. Kevin Mathers on Twitter. You can find it. I'm sure if you go to the World Series site, you can find it. So yeah, no, but Dennis, the point was the guy who was cashing said that Commerce withheld more than the bike does, so they clearly had an option. Um, anyways, so so if you think you're invited to the Tournament Champions, check the list. If you're not on the list, contact people. Kevin responds on the Twitter and he says, he'll give you the info. Because once again, Tournament Champions here at Commerce going to be right smack dab in the middle of our circuit. So make sure that you know. And speaking of that sweet bracelet event, the other kind of interesting thing that popped up this last week was also on Kevin Mather's Twitter, was that is that they renamed the Casino Employees event to the, what they rename it, the Industry Employees event, which means that apparently bloggers, vloggers, streamers, other social media / content creators in the poker space are now eligible to play in the Industry Employee event. Huh. That caused a huge buzz to find out that Derek and I were eligible to play in the Industry Employee event. Like that, everyone had an opinion on that. I don't know. What were you hearing,
Yeah.
Derek?
Yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't. Um, I mean,
That's not what you
immediately,
said right away.
yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't. I think it was just more of like when I heard it, I was like, yeah, I would, maybe I'd go play if I wanted to. But thinking about it a little bit, it just almost seems like unfair. Um, it's not to the level of like a man playing a ladies event, but it's sort of almost within the same like, ballpark or something. Um, my reaction to this was exactly what happened on Twitter. I actually said, has WSOP ever just asked the employees? I think you should just get like literally straight from their mouths. Do a survey. Like just send a survey out to everybody who qualifies and be like, dude, would you like these, vloggers and streamers that contain some pros to come play with you or not? Or would you want it to be your own event? And just let them tell you. Like that literally should just be, there should be nobody's interpretation but theirs. Like just ask them.
Yeah, what's the name of that guy? The other guy does the poker memes all the time. His last name starts with a C, I think. Carter, maybe.
Oh, Barry Carter.
Barry
Yeah.
Carter. Okay, all right. Carry on.
Yeah.
I just want to find
But
one
yeah,
of his posts.
yeah, that's basically it. Is we this should just really be up to the employees, and it should be their voice. I know that Craig Tapscott actually like posted an article on Poker.org. I got super excited to read it, but he only just like sounded like he talked to like one person or something. They really just need to survey all the people that play the employees event that are true employees and people, like maybe the poker reporters that do hand histories. I think those kind of land in that list. But just ask them, and then if they say, if most of them vote yes, then yeah, they should play. If most of them vote no, then no, you shouldn't let them play. It shouldn't really be up to anybody else.
Yeah, it's like, who is this event for, right? The event's supposed to, like, it was originally kind of supposed to be to somewhat reward or celebrate the
Yeah.
dealers, kind of like that Commerce employee tournament that that Kevin won, that we had talked about, right? It's kind of there just as a fun event to celebrate those guys, right? I just don't understand how they think. How do they think vloggers or someone doing a poker vlog across the country, or us doing a podcast, how do they think that we put the same amount
Not even close.
of like elbow grease and time and whatnot
Right.
into making the the whole point is like these are the people who make the World Series run, right? These are the people who make the World Series
Yeah.
tick. These are the people we have to thank for the World Series and for poker in this case mostly, just like for live poker to exist in general, right? So like what the heck? I don't get it. And I think that the knee jerk negative reaction, like the negative argument for this is pretty much summed up right here. So Barry Carter put this nice little one out here. All right, good luck to all the industry employees, right? So industry employees. I mean, Doug Polk owns a card room. He's probably got the strongest. He probably has the strongest argument of anyone. Galfan, he has a training site. He blogs a bit. He sends out a newsletter. That counts, right? I mean, Negreanu is absolutely a vlogger. He's got the most popular vlog in poker. You've got this guy who does commentary, right? I mean, commentators are washed, right? That's not a problem. And then this guy here is a training site, Fox in here, and then like, are these really who this tournament's for? I mean,
Right.
and the people
Yeah.
who aren't, is it really for them? Like the guy who just is this tournament really for us? No.
Maybe the decision to do this was to make sure that they keep, being friendly and catering to and trying to be more inclusive of content creators because they help grow the game. But it seems like a couple of extra steps that leads to an employee event. Like, how do those two things like connected with each other, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe
I don't know. I
they
don't think I
wanted to
don't think
do a content creators bracelet event, and they're like, maybe there's not enough though that wouldn't work.
yeah,
So let's
just
just combine
throw
them.
them in the employees event.
Let's just combine. I don't know. Just seems
Yeah,
terrible. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those
I
things where it sounds like for a quarter of a second, it sounds like a good idea, and then when you see that picture, it's like, oh yeah, all of the best players in the industry make content.
like on the other side of it that I'll argue from like the devil's advocate perspective is that when you think about a celebrity tournament, right? And there's usually real money to be had in those celebrity tournaments and even some charity tournaments. It's up to you if you want to give up your winnings to charity. But you get to sit there and play with a bunch of celebrities and some really, really good players like a Phil Ivey or Danny Negreanu, which you may never have a chance to play with, right? Unless you're able to play like the high limit events. All of a sudden they get to sit there and play with you. You might get a thrill out of that, which is why I'm saying just leave it up to the employees to say. Like it's even if your original definition of this was to reward true employees of Caesars, of WSOP, right, and the specific reporters that are doing coverage every day, like that's like the finite amount of people, and it was just something specifically for them. Let them actually decide what that event is for, right? Just survey them. I think this is the easiest. It's not even just the easiest answer. That's the only answer. Just ask them.
Yeah, yeah, and I think in the chat, everyone is kind of thinking that a separate event would have been better. And I'm coming around to it too. Just like let it be a free for all content thing, Just like okay, it's on a special day. You guys bring as many cameras and things. We'll put lights up. We'll have mics everywhere. Let's just go nuts. Just do what you got to do. I don't know. So I don't know. I really hope because remember, I mean, even last year when Holtz entered the thing and started running deep, everyone was so upset. I feel like that should have just like someone should have brought that up when they suggested this. Like, hey, Mike Holtz entered this last year and people were pissed he was making a deep run. Most people were, anyways, in the community. I don't know. Maybe the employees didn't mind as much, but or maybe the people in the tournament didn't mind as much. To your point. So if that's the case, that's the case. But the community sure wasn't happy.
Yeah, I mean Holtz is yeah, he's a crusher. He's
Yeah.
just a crusher. Yeah. There's just kind of like when Mike Liang won that free roll.
Oh,
It's kind of like that.
yeah. It's like what what are you even doing in that thing?
Right.
Uh huh. So completely unrelated topic. Before I forget though, I just wanted to make sure everyone saw this thing. So there have been some pretty funny action figure memes going around from the old AI streets, and our field reporter Frank, he surprised us by working with somebody to get them generated for us. So this, you can see this on our
Super funny.
Instagram. This
Yeah.
is they got me, and then I think they might have switched you for like Suited Superman or something. After all, maybe he is the fourth Derek. But they threw up some funny action figures of us, and if you're in the LA poker community, if you keep your eyes open, you might spot a couple more floating around of some of the other regs around town. I've seen them circulating; they're pretty funny too. But these are good. These are good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, they are really funny.
Yeah.
I love mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
I
mine.
like mine too, except for the car is just the wrong color, man. I don't know. If I hadn't
Yeah,
sold my motorcycle 2 years ago, I would have said that needs to be a bike. But if you're gonna put a car in, make it the right color, man. I don't know.
I like how Frank just gave you a random car.
Yeah, that's the only part that I didn't get was the car. I mean, I have a dog
Yeah.
too. You can with the cat. I don't know. We figure it out. But that's okay. The rest is pretty awesome. The rest is pretty awesome. Great job, great job,
Yeah.
Frank. All right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I just really hope someone like, you know, I don't know. Brad, I guess if Brad Owen wins, it would be good for quote unquote the game, but I just don't feel like that would feel good if someone like Brad Owen won. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I just it just again it just feels like maybe our opinion shouldn't matter. It's only the employees.
Yeah,
We can all
that's true.
pontificate about,
Yeah,
what our
maybe they just would love to play with Brad Owen, and it's totally
right.
worth it. So then, in
Yeah,
which case,
it's
yeah,
just
then just do it.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like they don't want to play with Chance though, or Foxen.
Right. Right.
I mean, I could
Yeah,
be
because
wrong. I could be wrong.
it's funny because Negreanu is at the same like skill level of a Chance or a Foxen, right? But they would love to play with
Right.
Negreanu
It's
because
more
of his table
celebrity. Yep.
presence,
Yep.
right? And it's more celebrity, right? So it's just leave it up to them.
Yep. It's hard to judge. It's hard to say. All right. Very cool. Oh wait. Did I tell everyone that Mac going
Nope,
back?
you did not.
Yeah, going back to the results. We had another self-reported result, guys. If you're playing, fewer places are reporting around town these days. If you have a good result and you want to self-report, please do send it to our Twitter, send it to our Instagram. Congrats to Mac Walker. He got third place at Hollywood Park on Sunday for 1,500. So as we all know, Hollywood Park never reports, so we only get these little drips of results from them. Yeah, so big shout out, Mac, big fan of the pod, and cool dude. Do not play him in backgammon though; he will hustle you. Just a tip.
Do we violate some sort of policy there by announcing a result?
No, it's fine. It's self-reported. No, if we were there reporting ourselves, I don't think there's anything. It's fine.
I'm just teasing
Yeah.
because they seem anti results for some reason.
Yeah, it's because they're afraid they're gonna scare away Regs. I don't know, people who are hiding their money from their families. I have no idea why people don't want to know. I don't know why people.
That doesn't make
know.
any sense. It's like less than 1% of people. It's like, who are you solving it for?
Yeah.
Don't get me ranting.
Thing.
Don't get me ranting.
Yeah.
Don't get me ranting again on something.
It's the same thing. You're catering to your super regs at the expense of ever getting a new player who was like, I like tournaments. I like my results reported, or even just I saw this report on someone else's ended. Oh, I didn't know they ran tournaments. Now I know. It's just like you just don't get anything.
I want to say it's even less than 1% of super regs who want that. Like it's like less than, it's probably like 0.001% of the poker population that wants that. It's just such a strange thing to solve for.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. All right. I think it's time for the roundup.
Let's go.
All right. So, this week we are currently wrapping on the Mega Millions. I believe tomorrow is the last day of the winning on the green. Does that sound right to you?
I feel like there's a couple more days, but I don't know.
I think tomorrow's the last day. I think there's a mixed event. Let me click the button and then we will know for sure. All right. So, let's wrap up winning the green. They are currently at the final table. I think they're down to maybe 7 now. I still don't think they're going to finish tonight. So they will wrap up the Mega Millions tomorrow. We'll find out who our newest banner is. And man, props to whoever their banner printers are. They get banners up. This one they won't because it'll be over. But they get banners up like in 3 days. Like the event's over and it's up by Wednesday. I swear, it's insane how fast those things go up on the wall. But yeah, so Wednesday is the last day of the series. There's a Heroes event, which I hear, rumor on the street, is that it may drop down to a $600 buy-in because they're concerned people don't want to play a Heroes event for $1,100, which I could understand. There's been low turnout, so if that's the problem, that could be a problem. And also, on Wednesday, they will be having interesting. Okay, so they're having a $2,200 bounty tournament where each bounty is $1,000. So, wow. That's a big bounty in the traditional sense, not the new big bounty. So that's pretty cool. There was they're doing a Survivor on Wednesday where 1K Survivor top 10% get 10 grand. But didn't you just win a Survivor? Oh, yesterday was also 10 grand. So today was the big one. Today was the 2 grand Survivor for
There's a
20K.
2 grand one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I thought the very last one of the series was always the biggest one. That's why I got confused for a minute. But
Yeah, there's another 1K Survivor tomorrow
Yep.
too. It looks like so.
Yep. So if you're good at satellites, nice bankroll builder right there. That being said, it's 10% rake on a 1K. So it seems like a lot for a Survivor. I mean, I don't know. If you're good at satellites, you're good at satellites, but that seems egregious because Survivors don't last as long as regular tournaments, right?
I am terrible at satellites, and I won it, so can you.
Yeah, I did actually win the last Survivor I played. I'm not great at satellites either. Definitely not. I think I'm break even in satellites. I wouldn't say I'm a winner in satellites.
Yeah.
Now, landmark bounties, maybe I have landmarks. Landmarks, I might have a slightly higher ROI in regular Survivors.
Yeah, random and a blind flip and goes for World Series Poker Main Event seat. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, you are amazing at the stupid blind flipping goes. What was that? $60? I was telling someone that story the other day, and it was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my
It
goodness.
was something like ridiculously low like that, and it was so I love telling that story that I just had no idea whether or not I won because I couldn't understand what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah, you better not do that again, or that's it. You're off the show, or I'm off the show.
This is the first thing I'm doing. I'm actually gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try to replicate the situation.
You're gonna drive up and enter, and then never.
Well, it was like I was waiting to, register, like to basically check into the hotel, and like literally when it started was when the woman called me over and was like, "Okay, we're open and I'm ready for you." And I was like, "Okay," and I was trying to multitask. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try to copy that somehow.
Yeah. I thought you were like regged on your drive in, and then you forgot about it or something. Isn't that what it was? Smart poker. What's that, Julie? You have to let me know. I don't know what you mean by smart poker. All right, so let's head over to the Gardens. Their series starts this week. Their mini series was unfortunately going to be a really awesome 3-week series with a 1K to cap it off. That got ruined when Kevin left. So I don't know why they changed the schedule. I mean, they're running on autopilot over there, which is fine. They have a decent staff for now. It's it'll take a while before things kind of fade off, if they fade off. But anyways, they are starting on Wednesday with the 50K guarantee with 10K added. $360 buy-in event. It's a $50 bounty event. That's on Wednesday, and that is going to count for the Player of the Year. Player of the Year, which we'll talk about in a second. Derek should be paying attention because he is within like 15 or 20 points of Elvin in the last
I'm technically
setup.
ahead of.
Yeah,
I should be
so
ahead of him now.
after the rest of the results come out, you may jump him, but either way, you guys are neck and neck for first and second.
You know what? I need us to be, kind of neck and neck playing in the same events and stuff. So he's not playing these. I'm not playing these. Let's go.
I think he might be playing them, and he likes.
He could
likes
be.
the
He could be.
So, yep. Then on Thursday they're going to have a seniors event. You're eligible for that, but that doesn't count for Player of the Year. Friday they're going to do a 50K deep stack.
Which ones of these count? Is it the all ones that are 50K?
The ones that are 50K and up. Yep.
Uh-huh.
So the Friday one is 50K with 10K added. Then there's a night one, Monster Stack Turbo, 25K guarantee. Saturday is the 100K deep stack with 20K added. So that is essentially 120K guaranteed. And then on Sunday, another 50K with 10K added. This one is a $500 in the money super bounty. So it's kind of like the opening event, but this time it's super bounties, not regular bounties. That Saturday event should be huge as long as people know about it, as long as people are still, still aware of this thing going on. Which honestly, there's less because Kevin's not pushing it on his social, and I haven't seen any Garden social media going up, so there is a little bit less marketing going on. So,
do we get clarification on the added? Is it like if it's 80K?
It's just straight added. It's not like, it's if they miss the guarantee, like it's not like just added to get to the guarantee. It's on top of.
Okay, so no matter what it is, so it's like 150K is 170K.
Right. Yep.
Okay, I need somebody who is either at the Gardens or will be at the Gardens this couple of days to find out if there are crystal trophies being awarded for these, because that is a big factor in whether or not I'm going to play, because I was actually going to skip the entire thing. But if there's a crystal trophy, it may show up for that Saturday one.
Right. He needs to get a Gardens trophy for the wall.
Yeah, I need that trophy.
Yeah, of course.
You have a Garden. Do you have one of the crystal trophies?
No,
you do,
I don't
right?
have the crystal. I have this. I have the cup.
Oh.
Yeah, these are. They only gave these out. There was one series where Kevin was giving out for every event, and then he switched to the crystals. For this series, this was a WPT series, so for a lot of the smaller events, they're giving out those little like metal looking things,
Hmm.
and then he gave this out for the Memorial Day one.
Hmm.
Yep.
Still cool though. Yeah, I need one of those crystal ones. So, yeah, please, listeners, fans of the pod, poker players out there, let us know
Yep.
if the Gardens Casino is still giving out crystal trophies.
Yep. Heck, Kevin, if you want to hit your contacts up, shoot him a message. He's dying here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head over to Hollywood Park. What do they have going on this weekend at Hollywood Park? I believe this might be a good one. Nope. Next week's the big one. So at Hollywood Park, this weekend is simply their regular Thursday. There's nothing going on, but Friday is their regular bounty, and then weekend is their 10K bankroll builders. So regular schedule over at Hollywood Park, and at Lucky Lady is also. But just mark your calendars. Next week, the 27th, they have on Sunday, they have a 50K special over at Hollywood Park. And I believe next week on Sunday, they also have a 25K guarantee at Lucky Lady, which is big for them. So really, next Sunday, you're going to have a lot of options. You're going to have the Super Bounty here at the Gardens. You're going to have the SoCal, or what do they call it, Sunday Special. They're going to have the Sunday Special over at Hollywood Park, and then later on, you've got a 25K at Lucky Lady, not to mention the regular 10K guarantee at Commerce. All right. So I will not be playing any of those. I don't believe. My plan actually, just bring it up real quick. Here's the current Player of the Year standings as of the last stuff that was in Hendon. And you can see, we don't have everything in there yet, but you and Elvin are neck and neck. 3,086, 3,098. You guys are just bam right there. Now, to be fair, Elvin did the chop at the Commerce main, so he's crushing you in actual amount of money, but in points, you guys are neck and neck. The next closest clump here is third through, basically the rest of the top 10ish or so. They're all down about 400, 500 points less. After that, we kind of have a steady drop off, and I'm down here. I've fallen down to 20th. I've taken a couple trips out of town on the weekends and haven't been cashing this recently. So I'm down at 2,000, which is good for 20th place, but that's still over 1,000 points away from you guys, which means in order to get 1,000 points, I think I would have to win the circuit main or something. So I would need to get a couple really good point earning finishes this next couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is your POI. You should be grinding this thing hard, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason we created this was to really point out people grinding hard, which it's working. But the problem is at the end when you're doing that is you can open up some big leads, and it's hard. In order to reward people who grind hard, you have to de-emphasize a single big spike, right? So.
Yeah, and the money difference between me and Elvin is I think Elvin may have also had a big score that wasn't counted, but I think, between my WPT ones and then my recent ones, both the wins didn't count.
Right.
Yep. I actually think I might be close to him in money, but if he did have another huge finish somewhere.
He had a final table for 60 something K or maybe 72ish up at the Win. Remember the Win main event?
Oh, that's right. The Win main. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So and spoiler alert. Plan is, guys, we are gonna have Elvin on the show next week. And we'll get his story. We'll talk to him about this his big come up here. He's been having one killer year, as you can see from our numbers in the Player of the Year, and just in general. And he hasn't been playing tournaments that long. He's been playing in cash forever. Switched over to tournaments. He's been killing it. So we're gonna get his story, and then we're gonna see if we can get Derek and Elvin talking some smack. See what their plans are for finishing out the year. The World Series circuit at Commerce is the final series that's going to count for our Player of the Year, and every ring event that's Hold'em, I believe, should be on the list that I put out, and so every ring event counts. This thing is tight. It could go right to the very last event, and Elvin has already told us he loves the competition. He's a battler. He's really into this, and I know Derek being so close in his love of trophies, which we will be buying a trophy, he's going to fight for it too. So it'd be really fun to get a nice rivalry going, to get some coverage on this, and to see who is going to be the inaugural #1 blaster in LA.
Yeah, we're going to have to wear a t-shirt with the other person's face, whoever finishes higher.
Something. You'll have to figure it out.
It's really funny too, because this is a good analogy maybe for this Player of the Year race, but one of the biggest hands that happened that actually skyrocketed Elvin up the chip stack count was I had raised, so we're at the same table, and unfortunately, Frank didn't catch the fact that we're at the same table. You could have probably gotten our picture. Um, I raised fives. Sam Weiss jammed behind me like a ton of chips.
Yep.
And I was in my head already like snap calling, and this was like cut off button, so I was like very sure it's gonna come back to me, and I was just gonna call. And then Elvin was the big blind, and he just shoves, and I was like, ah, fuck. So I ended up folding. He woke up with aces, and then he ended up winning the pot. And Sam had fours, so I actually would have had him dominated, and he wouldn't have caught up. So that could have been my pot if he just didn't wake up with aces. But I think this is just a good microcosm, and we're just kind of right there, just like kind of punching at each
Yeah.
other.
Yep. So we will have Elvin on next. We should have Elvin on next week. Should be fun. Let's get this rivalry started and let's carry it on because everyone loves a good rivalry. Let's go. We'll have to see who's out there. We can get some memes going. Maybe we can get it since the circuit will be the final series. Maybe we can get Cairo in on it. You know, we'll find some way to
Yeah,
get some competition going. Get some memes going. Let's go. All
yeah,
right, guys. Well, that is all we have for you this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and thanks for the comments. And you guys were great in the comments today. Hopefully, you guys had fun. We had fun. And we will. Oh, and so I'm not going to be playing at the Gardens this week because I'm going to Vegas. So if you'll be in Vegas, I will see you up there. My plan is to play up at the Win. The Win has a nice little 400K guarantee, $600 buy-in, I think, event going on all weekend. So I will be up there firing away. And I've been running, the cards have just been falling better for me up there. So I'm hoping I'm hoping to prove that that's still the case and that it holds through this World Series. So, I could deal with conceding the Player of the Year that we're doing to you if I run like crazily good at the World Series. I think I'd be okay with that. I'm willing to sacrifice that for you, Derek.
really. That's very gracious of you.
I know, right? I thought so. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks a lot. If you're at the
Yeah, thank
Gardens and there's
everyone.
a trophy, you'll see Derek. If you're in Vegas, maybe you'll see me. Wherever you're at, hopefully you are playing, you're running good, and we'll see you at the tables.
See you at the tables, everyone.